Good afternoon, JGBAM. This is my official beginning of Shin Megami Tensei 5 review in comparison to Shin Megami Tensei number 3. So far, there's no real motivation to do anything because they haven't given you like much of any story at all. The people you get sent to the Vortex world with aren't even your friends. They're just people you have to associate with. Because at the beginning of the game, they're like, find a friend to walk home with because people are getting killed at night. And so you find like a random group of people who decide to take you in, and then you get separated from them and end up getting trapped in a tunnel and teleported like 20 years in the future, where the world has been ravaged by demons and angels after a war that took place 18 years prior. Uh, I'm assuming that the other friends, because only there was three other people who came with you: a boy, a girl named Yuta, and another girl. And you and the boy and some random people get transported to the demon world, the Ot, but the two girls, nothing. We don't know anything about them yet. But I'm assuming that they're somehow behind the conflict, and they survived all this time. I think I'm gonna see like aged up versions of them, or something like that. Anyways, at the very beginning of the games, you get like no story. You just get teleported there, and then you become like the fiend. And like you don't see how it happens. You don't know what's going on, and there's no real reason to want to do anything because they're like, oh, this guy got kidnapped by angels. So what? I don't even know this guy. He just goes to my school. Whereas in Nocturne, you get so much exposition at the very start. You get told something's about to happen, you get told what's about to happen and why it's bad. And then you find the main antagonist, Hikari, I think that's his name. Hikawa, that's his name. And he almost kills you, and then he reveals more about what he's doing, and then you get turned into the demi fiend by Lucifer, and that's already like a big question. You're like, who is this kid? Why is he feeding me bugs? And now you've got to figure out what's happening to your friends. And then within like the first like 10 minutes of the game, you've already faced your first boss. Whereas I think I'm in like an hour or two of SMT 5, and all I've done is just run around a pretty empty world because there's just a bunch of demons walking around. I kill a few, I try to recruit a few. That's pretty much it. Like I have an objective, and it's to go to the Tokyo Tower to fight the first boss, but I'm already level like 12 or something, and I think it wants me to be in like level 20 for the very first boss, which is pretty ridiculous. Um, so yeah, there's no real story, no real reason to keep me wanting to play. Uh, and it feels like there was a lot more to do in Nocturne. Like even before you fight that final boss, you get an objective from a pixie, and she's like, "Hey, can you take me to Yoyogi Park?" And so you fight the Fornius, and then you can go to Yoyogi Park, and then Pixie wants to stay with you. Then you go to Shibuya because you hear rumors of your friend being there, and then one thing leads to another. It flows very smoothly. You go from place to place to place, killing demons, uncovering more of the story, and battling fiends and stuff. And the progression is really natural. You just naturally level up. I don't remember like besides at the very end, I grinded up like I think like 3 levels to gain a specific skill. I don't remember really grinding at all unless it was like for money. Like the game just naturally had its way of getting you to the level you needed to be before the boss, which was really nice. Like I don't like it's that's a nice thing to do. But in Nocturne, since not Nocturne, since in SMT5, since the since the monsters aren't like you don't just randomly generate into them, you have to just walk into them and battle them, which I feel like takes a lot more time because you have to go out of your way to like find monsters to battle, and then them just being super avoidable makes you really not want to battle them, especially on like hard mode. Because I mean, I don't want to die right now. It takes like a lot of the risk away from it, and a lot of the difficulty is gone too. Because being able to see your enemies' weaknesses at all times, being able to see their health, um, I guess that's it so far. Bosses also being able to get affected by uh, ailments is also pretty lame. And what's it called? Demons leveling up when they're not even in your main party, like some kind of XP share. That's also super lame. Like it just makes the game like unnecessarily easy, and that's dumb. I think it's stupid. But I mean, I don't know. It's also like I think I like the essence system, but I feel like it's just a way worse Magatama system because you have to walk around find these things to gain like specific skills, and like I guess it's cool to be able to just choose immediately what skills you want, but at the same time again it makes it like super easy, especially when you can give these same skills to other enemies. um I guess circling back to the whole objective thing, I guess they sort of like supplemented the go here, go here, go here, go here from Nocturne with the quest system, but a lot of the quests like they don't bring you anywhere. Like a lot of them are just like give me this item, find this guy who's like 20 feet away, or kill a few demons, which it doesn't take me anywhere. I'm not really urging to go to the next area or discover anything. And like the regular humans being able to summon demons, I think that's kind of lame. Like it always like what's the point of the now the Nahabino if just regular dudes can also summon demons? I guess those regular dudes probably can't use magic, but I mean, I'm not really supposed to be using magic either. Cuz like right now the difficulty is just the regular encounters. Like just encountering an enemy, and they made it so in hard mode the crits are super common, which I think is a super cheap way to make it hard, because at that point it's just annoying and stupid, because when you get a crit you get like an extra turn, right? And so I'd be fine if it's like one crit like every game, but they literally make it so sometimes the enemies get a crit every single turn. Like they'll crit you 3 times, and so then they have 3 more turns, and then they'll crit you those 3 times as well, which pretty much wipes out your entire party. And if two enemies focus on you at once, your game is pretty much over, even though this is still one of like the first encounters. And I'm just wondering now that I think about it, I'm wondering if that's because I have a move where it makes it so I can crit every single turn. Um, and so I'm wondering if that's also a move that they can do. But I feel like there's no visualization of that. I don't know that's happening. Cause sometimes I don't know. It's a really cheap way to make it difficult when Nocturne just had it way better. Like the difficulty was the bosses, and the encounters were pretty difficult, but not like every single encounter is just gonna wipe out your team. Maybe I'm just remembering Nocturne wrong, because I do remember Nocturne being like super difficult, and I had to constantly keep like recovering, buying all these medical items. And so maybe the beginning of this game is just a lot longer than Nocturne's is, because I'm thinking that Nocturne's beginning is the start of the conception all the way up to Shibuya, which is pretty short, or at least it felt short since it was jam packed with a lot of things to do. Um, but right now, like the game, instead of like progressively getting me to the level I need to be for like the first boss encounter, it's sort of just letting me do whatever I want. And I guess that's why I don't really like RPGs all that much because I've played a few Final Fantasy games and other RPGs, but usually they don't really give you like objectives or like tell you what to do. Like it's up to you to do anything you want to do, and I think that's kind of lame. Like Nocturne, you had choices as to like what Magatama you wanted, if you wanted to grind, what kind of demons you want to fuse, but like I really don't remember doing much of anything in Nocturne. Like I don't remember grinding. I don't even remember like recruiting all that many demons, which I know has to be like false because obviously I had quite a few demons. I think I had like 40% of the compendium, and like most of them were fusions, but I still had to have like at least a few just demons I got randomly. And so I'm hoping that maybe after this first boss, it's gonna like ramp up a bit, and maybe it'll like be more like Nocturne and direct me more, and give me like more story stuff. But I'm not really counting on it, I guess. I think it is sort of fun to play, except for like that whole like infinite crit thing. The OST, I don't have much to say about it, but I didn't really have much to say about it in Nocturne either. Um, the UI is god awful. I hate looking at it. My dad came in while I was playing, and he totally hated it too. He thought it was super crowded, and I agree. There's just too much going on at once, and like Nocturne was way better. Like you have like the mini map, and that's literally it on the screen. I I think you might have had uh your party members on a sidebar. I don't remember. I don't think you did, but like for real, all you had in Nocturne was like a mini map, and there was no icons in that mini map. But now like it's so hard to see the mini map, even like it's bigger on SMT V, but there's just so much going on with it. Like there's like a bunch of symbols all over it. There's like weird flashing lights all over it, which like obscure my view. And I'm just like, well, fuck this. I don't want to look at this. This is stupid. Um, yeah, I guess that's all my criticisms so far. Uh, yeah, I'm just hoping it gets better because I spent a lot of money on this game. Well, I mean, the same amount of money I would spend on any game, really. But Nocturne gave me super high hopes. I didn't expect Nocturne to be as good as it was. And I do have to remember that at one point I did get bored of Nocturne. Like I stopped playing it for like 4 months, and then I came back, and then I was sucked in. I was nonstop playing it for like 2 weeks, or 2 or 3 weeks. And so maybe that's the same deal with this game. Maybe once I get past like a certain threshold, I'll be like, holy shit. But again, the only reason why I was sucked into Nocturne is because there was just so much to do, so many bosses. Like, I felt like, because immediately after the Thor battle, and I feel like Thor is the threshold, because at that point you've met up with all your teammates again, and now you're starting to figure out the main conflict of the world. After you defeat Thor, you then fight Daisojo, the second fiend, and then immediately after that, you fight Hellbiker, the third fiend, and then you travel through uh, the Nihilo base, and then you fight Hikawa, and then, and not to mention the Labyrinth of Amala, because that gave you like a nice break in between, uh, like the constant battling and dungeon crawling to do more battling and dungeon crawling, but it felt like you were working towards something. It's like Mementos in Persona 5, which was I really loved Memento, so it was really cool. to go deeper and deeper and explore more. But Labyrinth of Amala, it like distracted you from the main gameplay for a bit. It gave you a lot of lore. It was really interesting, and it also helped like that natural leveling up and progression while you were doing stuff. And so after Hikawa, you then fight the writers, and then it just keeps going from there. You get things to do, people tell you what to do, and then pretty soon the game's just over. You beat the game, which is it's awesome. There's a lot of things to do. Um, Especially making the fiends mandatory, pretty much. Like this Daisojo wasn't mandatory, but uh, if you do end up beating him, then every fiend after that is pretty much mandatory if you continue doing the Labyrinth of Amala. Like, once you unlock the riders, they appear. You can't avoid them. They go in places you need to be going to, so you have to battle them eventually. Uh, but yeah, I guess I can't really judge anything yet because in Nocturne sense, I haven't even beat SMT's Fornius. So maybe the game's just like obscenely long. I'll have to look up the playtime. Actually, I'll do that right now. It's literally the same. SMT 5 has 50 to 60 hours. Um, and Nocturne has 50 to 60 hours. The completionist of Nocturne is 89 and a half hours, and completionist in SMT 5 is 96 hours. But that's probably literally only because of the like all the weird side quests you have going on. But even then it's literally just 7 more hours. The main story of Nocturne is 3 hours more. Yeah,